race fans, welcome to another episode of Short Track Guys Podcast, brought to you in part by McDonald Muffler, the Muffler Mafia, based out of Mobile, Alabama. They're a family-owned and operated muffler shop, specializing in converters, shocks, and so much more. Give those guys a call at 251-661-1043. That is McDonald Muffler, the Muffler Mafia, in Mobile, Alabama. I'm your host, Thomas Faddis, alongside what would normally be two of the other Short Track guys in the studio, as always. But tonight, because we have one down, it's just Jim and I. Jim Pokrant, driver of the 07 Can'tQuitFishing.com Sportsman and 2021 Sportsman Champion, and Ted Baber. Absent tonight. He's feeling a little low. We wish him well. We'll see him back Wednesday night. Boy, oh boy. Jim, welcome to the show again.
Yeah, just our thoughts go out to poor old Ted. I talked to him earlier. He sounds terrible. He's been under the weather, so we hope he gets to feeling better. Going to have a special guest tonight, and we're happy to be here. And much as I love to talk racing, so let's get to it.
Yeah, we had a pretty big show this past Friday night locally here in our backyard at Five Flag Speedway with a demolition derby and some local classes. The demolition derby pretty much summed it up. For $10 to get in, that was the show. Yeah, it was.
That was so neat to see Gestron Rogers in that front-wheel drive Chrysler 300 finishing in the top three in that car where the rear tires were completely just about knocked off of it. And he was dragging that thing around like a dog dragging his butt across the yard. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. And, congratulations to the Seidner family. They got it done.
Yeah, they've got a long lineage there. They've been racing out there for a long time. I remember doing a video during the Snowball Derby in Dayton. Seidner was he probably 10, 11 years old or so, on the other side of the fence, and I put a picture of him up on YouTube saying one of the future track champions. And lo and behold, there was a Seidner, it seemed like, every week, and has still been. So congratulations to that. $1,500 to win, I believe, right?
Yeah, and it was Camden Seidner that ended up winning it. And the cool thing was he wasn't going to do it, and they talked him into it like 2 or 3 days prior, and he ended up getting the win. So that's even more special.
Yeah, that demolition derby is one that you don't want to miss. That, along with the kids' bike races, those are always entertaining. We will have that one probably next year. Again, they only do that once a year. But man, what a show they put on! And the local classes with the Outlaws, the Sportsmen, Pure Stocks, and the Crown Stocks. Timothy Watson just seems to get it done.
Oh, he put a whooping on him. He was a straightaway ahead. That car is just incredibly fast. Good for him. Boring for fans, but what a great race. I mean, he just, what can you say about that guy? He either wins or runs second. So, I think he's still leading the points. So
yeah, Timothy Watson, Carter Taylor, and Connor Sutton, which is that 54 car you've been pulling so hard for to get that first win. I believe it is coming, the way he kind of sat in the middle there, but he started making a little strong run there towards the end. And Derek Griffin and Bubba Winslow rounded out the top five, which is a little unusual, finishing fifth for Bubba.
Yeah, he had a bad night. That's uncharacteristic of that car. It's usually in the top 2 or 3 every single race. Congratulations to Carter Thompson for getting it done. His spotter spotted for me Saturday night, and I appreciated Carl for his stepping up and helping me, because I didn't have a spotter until he stepped up, and guy did a great job.
Yeah, and speaking of that Sportsman division, I just go run down the top 5, and then we'll get into a little smoke that we saw, and Jim can explain what all went down with that. B.J. Latham comes away with a win again. Maddox Langham, Chad Robinson, James Patrick, and Daryl McDonald III rounded out the top 5 in that Sportsman. But tell us what happened, Jim.
Well, we started off, couldn't get the thing to turn. It was pushing like a truck early on, and I wound up falling back to 6th. And stayed there most of the race, but late in the show, the car started driving weird, and I couldn't figure out why, and I had a slight vibration. The front bearing, main bearing in my transmission broke in half, and it ate up the seal, and it just started throwing gear oil everywhere, and made for quite a show for smoking. It looked like I was killing mosquitoes there the last 5 laps, but I finished the race, which was cool. The cool thing about Maddox Langham running second, that's the car he destroyed over at Mobile. And, I mean, that thing was bent, and they straightened it and then worked on it for all week long, got it together to come out and run second, so that's pretty remarkable for them. Congratulations to B.J. Latham for getting the win. That's his 3rd in a row in Sportsman. He's won 2 in Mobile and this one here, so that's pretty sporty. They're getting that car figured out.
Yeah, old Maddox showed up on the trailer and with that car had a little, not a hood ornament, you would say. It was a trunk ornament from Mobile on the back of that car when he got out. I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. They got it done, though. I had to give it to them. They got that car fixed and it's still fast, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then the pure stocks, man, what do you can say? Robert Barber, Mason Johnston, Thomas Norman, Butch Harville Jr., and Sean Barnes get it done. But Robert Barber and Loper, those two kind of going back and forth. But I think that's Barber's second in a row, I think.
It is, and he battled the 26 car, the other McDonald, Colby McDonald. They battled hard early on, side by side. And, man, Barber passed him on the outside, which is not an easy feat, and ended up being a really good race until they got together and Colby McDonald cut a tire down and wound up hitting the fence.
Yeah, that's pure stock, man. They always really put on an exciting show. And speaking of exciting shows, we just keep going on down the list. The Crown Stocks, what can you say about that class? 100 Lambert in the 97 has been around this track for a while, wins 2 in a row. One's, we had a story last Wednesday with the last episode of him watching the heat races and loading up and making the featurette to start in the back and end up winning it. And then he wins Friday night. And then that Crown Stock class is huge.
Oh, but the thing about it is the beating and the banging and the swapping the paint. It's exciting for the crowds. They love it. I mean, it's like I said, it's a class I've been preaching for 3 years. Let's get it done. And we forgot to mention that this is our beginning of our 3rd season tonight. And I'm happy to do this, but that's the whole time I've been doing this. I've been saying we need a Crown Vic class because there's so many of those cars around, and everybody can get in one. Relatively inexpensive and put on a good show. And I'm going to tell you something, that was a great race the other night. It's one that I will stop what I'm doing and watch because it's such a good race.
Yeah. Hunter Lambert with his second in a row. Blaze Boykin battling in that point series with Ryan Bleich, the points leader, finishing 3rd. Tyler Young was our guest a couple of events ago. And Daryl McDonald, the 3rd, got back out of that sportsman race and got in his Crown Stock and finished top 5, which is pretty good. And we have our guest is in that Crown Stock class, is with us tonight, and he's going to be on the show here in just a little bit. We're going to touch on some other races and go outside of our local area and not too far away. But this weekend, we'll jump ahead a little bit, but this Saturday night got an increased purse in all the classes, which I was pretty impressive with what they're doing over there in Mobile.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, Eddie's been paying, and he wants the drivers to come. And, I appreciate Eddie. I like racing over there. We're going to try to go Saturday if I can get my transmission fixed tomorrow night. We get her back on the ground. I need to throw her on the scales, just fix some numbers, and then we're going to go over and give it heck and see what happens. But in all those classes over there, he's going to pay good. The racing's always pretty good over there. So, it's a worthwhile trip. If you got time to come over and support another short track, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, $2,000 to win in the sportsman and $500, I think, to finish 5th. So all those purses have increased quite a bit, and I suspect that Eddie will have another full house in Mobile Saturday night if everybody makes it down the road. We'll touch on the results of that next Wednesday, and we can't wait because that sounds like they've turned that place around in just a short period of time.
Well, let's hope so, because that's a historic place. Been there a long, long time, and the racing there is always good. It's always a fun place. You really tote the mail around that place. That's what makes it the most fun, is you're really hauling butt around there. So I like it. I'm looking forward to Saturday night to go over there and have some fun. And my buddy Jeremy Peebles, he's a Coast Guard. He was there Friday night with us. He's going to come over and help us again, and he's got a super late model, so hopefully we can help him with his car, and we're going to enjoy it, and we're going to have some fun.
Well, that's Pensacola, that's Mobile. I'm going to step outside of our little southeastern area. The Milton Cat Midsummer Classic 250 is a White Mountain Motorsports Park in New Hampshire. It's ACT race for $10,000 with Jesse Switzer, Dylan Moltz, and Gabe Brown. This is in North Woodstock, New Hampshire. We don't touch on many races with the ACT series, but the American Canadian Tour race for $10,000, and congratulations for that win. I do want to give a shout out to Steve Apel, This is a really memorial for Alan Kulwicki, the 77 at Slinger Super Speedway in the Elite 8 Super Late Model Series. And Steve Apel gets it done with Levon Vandergeest, Jacob Nottestead, Alex Prunty, and Dennis Prunty round out top 5. But that's always anytime you go over a race at Slinger has got to be special.
Oh yeah, heck yeah! I mean that is the they call it a super speedway, but it's a quarter mile, and that's one heck of a racetrack. So that's one of those quarter miles you towed it around there, and you got to have it to get around there, because if you don't, you're in trouble.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's a neat place to watch a race. It's on our dumpster list.
Yeah, the Prunties are, they've got the long lineage of racing too, and Alex and John DeAngelis and those guys up there in the Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio area, they come down and run all the big races. And Alex and Dennis has been here in the Derby quite a few times, and Alex came down one time to help John DeAngelis one time when they got started. But long lineage of racers there. It was good to see them up. I know they wanted to win, but top 5 there back to back. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let's back up a little bit. We had a pro late model race Saturday night. It's called the Show Me the Money series in Montgomery. And a lot of the names that we've been throwing around ended up battling back and forth. And they had a twin 70 lap feature on Saturday night. And Hunter Robbins comes away with the John Bolin and Christopher Tullis top 3. And then John Bolin and Hunter Robbins swapped first and second, and the Dawson Sutton on the third. But the 270 lap twins at Montgomery in the Show Me the Money series has got, I wish I'd have been there. Oh,
yeah. Well, it was just good to see John Bolin back in victory lane. That dude, man, he left for a while and he came back and he's been running pretty good. And he has Tony Uri Jr. on his pit box, the guy that used to be crew chief for Dale Earnhardt Jr., and he builds Fury race cars, and he comes down every time John Bolin races with him, because we pitted right across from John Bolin, and you see him there. But congratulations to them. And I also want to give my buddy Charles Davis, the street stock driver that won the feature there Saturday night, wound up in the hospital being dehydrated. After he got out of the car, he took his victory lane picture. He collapsed. They had to put him in an ambulance and take him to the hospital. He was severely dehydrated. Just a reminder for everybody, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Friday night, I lost 10 pounds due to water loss because I sweated so much.
Wow.
And I'm just constantly Gatorade, water, and Pedialyte. And just a reminder for me, it's hot.
Yeah.
And you're going to get in this car and you can fry your brain. You can hurt yourself. You ever have a heat stroke, your days in the sun are done.
Right.
So just remember, the day before a race, start drinking water constantly. Just drink until you got to go to the bathroom, and then drink some more. But you've got to stay hydrated, because if you don't, it could kill you.
Yeah, it's some serious stuff, and you need to pay attention to that. And it's never skimp on safety, and part of that is taking care of your body as well.
Amen to that.
Especially being in a race car, whether it's 15 or 150 or 200 laps, it doesn't matter. It's going to get hot, and you're going to lose weight, and you don't want to be in a race car going around a corner and then start losing consciousness. I mean, that's not a good thing.
No. Just a little PSA from the Short Track Guys podcast.
Yeah. And then another big one, the Bass Tire Family Night at Nashville. And before we went on, we watched the video of last year's finish with Dylan Fetko and Hunter Wright. Man, they battling it out with 2 to go. And Dylan did everything he could to try to get Hunter sideways, and it did not happen. Well, that race is going to be replayed again this Saturday night in Nashville with the likes of Hunter Wright, Dawson Sutton, Jackson Boone, Dylan Fetro. The payout is just like everything else, but I think these guys are really going after those wins.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Fetcho was our track champion in Pro Late Model last year, so he's always fast. He's always right there, especially in Nashville. So he's always a threat to win. Jackson Boone is what's his name calls him. He does very, very well. So that's going to be a good race. I hope they have a good crowd. I hope the weather holds out, and I hope that everything works out well for them.
Yeah, that's always a fun track to go over and watch the replays. And that's one of mine, on my bucket list to get to watch that. Just what a great show they have. I'm glad to see that track continuing to thrive. And we get to go over most of that, if not all of it, every week, because it seems like they're just busy.
Yes. And we're going to talk about the big one tonight.
It is right. It is going on as we speak. And that one would happen to be
the SRL at Berlin.
Yeah.
The 250 at Berlin, 250 laps at Berlin Raceway on American Racer tires. And our boy Bubba Pollard is there, and a lot of big names are there. That's going to be a show, I promise you.
Yeah, the likes of Chase Elliott, William Byron, Eric Jones, Josh Berry, Carson Hocevar, Bubba Pollard, Derek Griffith, Brian Campbell, Evan Shotko, last year's winner, and Tyler Roig. So, I mean, that's just a touch of 32, I think, 33 cars we saw on the entry list, and they've already qualified. And what did you say, Bubba was third qualifying?
He qualified third.
Qualified third, and if there's a redraw, I don't know. He might go back, he might go up. I'm not sure if they have a redraw, but 250 laps, and I think Eric Jones is going to try to win his second. And Evan Shotko is there to try to defend the championship, winning it last year.
Yep, Shotko's on the pole.
Oh, well, there you have it.
And Bubba is third by 19/100ths of a second.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's hundredths all the way back to, oh my goodness, back to 11th. It's hundredths of a second all the way back to 11th.
Jeez.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. Well, we will have, unfortunately, that race is going on as we speak, and that's why you get a lot of these big names in there, because it is midweek, and they've got an opening and a window for their schedule opens up, and that's why a lot of these big names are able to do that, and they like doing that because it just kind of keeps them fresh, and they're trying to establish their programs so that they can maybe be like a Kyle Busch or some of these others that bring the young guns in there and kind of get them in. I guess that's how it flows up. We get some of these names in the Cup Series eventually.
Yeah, but most of them write that check to get into the Donnie Wilson or any of these big name late model teams. And it's the Cup guys love to pay money to those big late model teams so they can come run their cars too. So Anthony Campy, all these guys are making a living off super late model racing, which is cool. And then you got guys like Bubba Pollard, who's kind of an independent in a way and can whoop them anytime that everything's right. So going to be an interesting night. Let's just hope and all the drivers make it home safe and that they put on a good show for those fine people up there in Michigan.
Yeah, amen to that. Well, we started a segment about 5 or 6 weeks ago. This happens to be week number 6. We have had a fine group of gentlemen have a roofing business, Story and Bleich Roofing. We put a Crown Vic class segment together for a Spotlight Driver of the Week, and this happens to be week number 6. And our driver of the week is Mr. Garrison Story. He is on the line with us. He's been with us, waiting patiently to tell his story, if you will. From Pensacola, he is in the Crown Vic class there at Five Flag Speedway. He's run 13 events this year. He had 3 top 5s and 6 top 10s. He has 2 heat wins. He's had that checker flag in his hand. He's on the phone with us. And Garrison Story, thanks so much for taking the time out to be with us and tell our listeners about how you got started and how you're feeling in that car with the Crown Vic class.
Well, I appreciate y'all having me on. So this is my first year racing. I've had a few learning curves, especially since it wasn't till probably mid-February till the first time I ever got in a race car and went out and took a few laps out at Five Flags to practice and kind of get the hang of things. I want to say thank you to Ryan Bleich and Marcus Story and Jimmy Story for kind of helping me out and teaching me what to expect and how to handle myself in the car. My grandfather is kind of the driving reason behind all this. He was just loved race cars. He's been around it his whole life pretty much. He worked with Joe Gibbs Racing and NASCAR, and he asked me every single year if I wanted to race, and I never really got into it. I always enjoyed going to the races, and I think I've been to almost every single snowball derby since I've been alive. And I've always enjoyed, being out there and watching, but I never quite gave it the time and attention to detail necessary to actually do it. I was always, between school and other sports, I just never really had time for it, to be honest with you.
Yep.
And I'm telling you, I'm loving it so far.
Well, where did you end up finding the car, and who helped you build it?
So I actually got my car race ready from Tim Bryant. So we bought that. It was race ready, and I pretty much drove it that day. It was sitting at the track when I found it, and I took it that day and got on the track and took a few laps.
Oh, you got one of the old Shanard built cars when Jim bought that.
Shanard did the roll cage, and I've moved on from that car. Dave Nolan's actually driving that number 9 car. That was my original 19. And now I've got a different car. Shanard built that as well. And, I can't thank him enough. He's done a great job. And he's also, he's given me some pointers and helped me out along the way.
He's a good fella.
Oh, yeah, I like him a lot. And I tell you what kind of surprised me when I first started racing is just how helpful and how nice and, how willing everyone is to help you out, especially, knowing that it's my first year racing and that I'm a rookie and I still got a lot to learn. But I've had just countless number of people come up and offer me pointers and, telling me what to do and what to expect. And I can't thank everyone enough for that. I pride myself in being coachable. And, when someone has more experience and they're better than me, well, obviously I'm going to want to listen to what they have to say.
Well, tell me this. What's the hardest thing about that Crown Stock class?
The hardest thing about it is honestly, I would say the competition. We have a lot of first-year drivers, but everyone, in my opinion, seems to – it doesn't quite look like it's their first year. You got Daniel Lofton, Blaze Boykin, Tyler Young, myself, Keith Holt, Devin Robinson. It's all our first year driving on a track. And, I don't know about y'all, but I feel like we put on a decent race out there.
Oh, yeah. Y'all put on an excellent show. You know what I find out is cool? You and Tyler Young are both like second or third generation drivers. Tyler Young, I used to race against his uncle. I've been doing this for over 30 years, but I raced against his uncle, Greg Young. And when I first met him, I saw 44 and I thought, oh man, Young, oh my goodness. And we had him on here, and your grandpa was a great guy. He always was so nice to me, always talked to me. We always talked racing. He was always, just always upbeat. And I had forgot that he drove a show car rig for Joe Gibbs Racing. I had forgot all about that.
Yeah. He also did some short track racing for a long time.
Yeah, he used to tell me tricks like when you're going into the start box, stick your hand up and give the guy behind you like one lap to go and then take off. He told me that trick, and I said, John, you did that? He said, I did it way more times than I'll ever tell you. He said, but I'd go into the start box and then like they're calling off the thing and just like one to go, and when the guy behind you lifts, just take off and leave him. He was I'm going to tell you what, I had to say, I was sad to hear his passing, but he was a great man. I just want to tell you, he was a great guy and always enjoyed his stories.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you telling me that.
Yeah.
And, I really, honestly, every time I fasten my seatbelt and get in there and put my helmet on and all that, I can't help but think about it. Because he asked me every year, if I can do just one race this year. And once he passed, I felt like, this is the time that Story and Bleich Roofing as a company, we need to step up and sponsor this new Crown Vic class. And I knew it was time for me to actually give it a go. And I got to tell you, I'm really glad it did. I've made a lot of friends and I've been enjoying it.
Well, I can promise you, he's riding with you. There's no doubt.
Well,
and I also noticed that I've seen a lot of pictures, group pictures, of all the drivers from Mobile and here, and it seems like if it's not the entire field, it is almost the entire field, and it's like you guys are one like brother group, a group of brothers. And how is the camaraderie between drivers as far as that class goes?
It's way better than I ever could have imagined. We do get that group photo. We try and get it before every Five Flags and Mobile race, and we're going to continue that. I think it's cool. And then, it goes in our little Facebook Crown Vic class page, and we all kind of have a laugh over it and talk about it. And I never, when I first started racing, I mentioned the comment to my father. I said, I never thought that you would be so close with your competition. I've played sports my whole life. When I was playing lacrosse in college, we never talked to the other team like these other drivers will come up and talk to you and all that. And that was new to me, but I tell you, I really like it. I've done some racing in Mobile and South Alabama and Southern, Dothan. I've done a few dirts now, and every single race I have someone come up and talk to me, and I'm getting to meet all these great guys, and it really is something that I look forward to and cherish.
That's the one thing that I've always said about this sport is, some of my lifelong friends, Thomas, I never would have met him if he hadn't have pitted next to me one night when we were racing Sportsman. I never met him. He backed his car trailer, was running terrible. I helped him fix his motor, and he ran better, and we've been friends ever since. My good friend Martin, everybody ever known. And I tell you something that I've always known is even your worst enemy, you'll loan parts to. I've loaned stuff to people that I don't even like, but hey, he's a racer and he needs a part. I got it. Here you go. Go get in the race. And he might beat you that night, and you're just like, well, I helped him beat me, but. That's the cool thing about this sport that I love is the friends and the lifelong friends I've made doing this. For sure.
And if I was needing something, and I'd sure hope they'd return the favor. So if I got it, I'm gonna lend it out.
Yeah. That's a good attitude to have. And you're getting better and better, man. You're gonna win one before it's over with. That class has just gotten so competitive. And the thing I love about that class is they're racing up front. They're racing in the middle of the field, and they're racing at the back of the field. There's action everywhere you look, and the crowd loves you guys.
And I've been at all three stages. I've been up front, I've been in the middle, and I've also been in the back. It's tough. Everyone's driving hard, and these cars are fast. They're heavy, they're fast. But so far, I'm having just a tremendous amount of fun.
That's what it's all about, man.
Well, you sit fifth in points. You've got 296 points now. There's 111 back of Ryan Bleich. With the amount of races you got left, I think you might be able to reach fourth, but fifth in your first year in that Crown Vic class, that would be pretty special.
Yeah, well, I haven't quite got on the podium yet this year. I got close. The first race, I got fourth. I think I got another top five somewhere in there. I've won two heats, and I'm still got a learning curve. I'm still getting better every week as a driver. There's been new things I've been trying out, and I've made some adjustments to the car, tweaking with it a little bit. It also doesn't help when I wreck it and tear it up. Got to start from scratch.
Yeah, that's never a good thing. But you've got it straight. You've got it in position where you can kind of use the rest of the season to take what you learned and put it in the memory bank, and then in the off season, I believe you probably will have a quick turnaround to get ready for the Derby, because that's going to be a big one too, and that will be probably the most exciting one of the year.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm hoping I can keep a top five in points. I don't think I can get one or two, but as high as I can get, I'm gonna take it and be happy. And next year is a different game. I'm not a rookie anymore. I'm coming for top three next year.
Yep. Well, we're going to get your picture, and we're going to put it on that Crown Vic page on Facebook so that people can put the car and you together with your story. Before we leave, is there anybody that you'd like to thank and plug some of your sponsors for making this happen?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to thank Story and Bleich Roofing for funding all this. I'd like to thank Assassinado Tequila, Ticket Silver, Marcus Story, Jimmy Story, Ryan Bleich, and Hunter Lambert and Tommy Lambert and all those guys. The Lamberts, they've been a tremendous help to not only myself, but our whole Story and Bleich team and Ryan.
Well, that's good. It's what happens. You got to have those people around to kind of build that bond, not only with personally, but with the car mechanically too. So it's impossible to do by yourself, and it's good to have those people and the businesses around you to make it happen. It makes it make the stories even bigger.
Absolutely, and I'm ready to get back out there on the 25th, and I'm excited. So I'm gonna give it everything I got.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time out, and we learned a lot about the Garrison story. We look forward to seeing you at the racetrack, and go get that win. Hope to be there when you get that first checkered flag, and it's probably going to be here before the season's over. When we hope to be there. We appreciate you taking the time out, and good luck the rest of the season.
Have a good one, man. Be careful, and remember, of all anything else, just have fun.
Absolutely.
Thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate y'all allowing me to come on this.
All right. Thanks, Garrison.
All right.
All right. Well, that was Garrison's story. That he is our Spotlight Driver of the Week. The story in Bleich Roofing. Crown Vic Spotlight Driver of the Week. Garrison's story. The 111 points back. He's fifth in points now. Got a few races left, but I believe he's got the right attitude. I think he's got the people around him. I think he can get that checkered flag before the end of the year.
Oh, yeah, he will. I mean, that class, anybody can win on any given night. And the racing has been so good, and the level of competition is so even in that class. There's a few cars that get out front, but boy, when they have a restart, they can all get a shot at it. So yep. I think he can get it.
Yeah, we'll certainly pay attention to that and give some more results of some of these races we've been over, especially the big one up in Berlin, the 250 going on as we speak. Next Wednesday, hope to have Ted back. Ted, if you do happen to get around to listen to it, we're hoping you get better and a lot of that chicken soup and some vitamin C, as Mom used to say. Then we'll get better and see you in the studio next week. And Jim, I think other than that, we're catching up on next Wednesday in these races this weekend. Good luck. If you go to Mobile, I'd like to see that $2,000 check come home.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a shot. I mean, we're going to go over and have some fun. Like I said, it's a fun place to race, and thank you to Eddie McDonald for all he does for Mobile, and hopefully we'll go over there and come home with some money.
Well, thanks everybody listening. McDonald Muffler, thank you so much. And all our listeners, this is why we do it. We've got merchandise coming out. We're going to put that out just as soon as it's available. It is in the process, and get this thing growing even bigger. So until next Wednesday, Jim.
1, 2, 3.
Let's go, Brandon.
Good night, everybody.
Be strong, America. Thanks for listening.